one important component which is required to live your dreams is that somebody has to fulfill them, right? To some extent, our parents do that. To a certain age, yes, your parents fulfill your dreams, but beyond which, after a certain point in time, you're responsible for your own dreams, and maybe you have to fulfill these dreams. So what it takes to fulfill the dreams, what it takes, right? Now let's first understand the realities of life. Let's go through the process of the life cycle itself. As a commerce student, you people have studied different life cycles in your subjects: life cycle of a product, business cycles, and in your schools you have studied life cycle of insects. But I'm not sure how many of you have ever given a thought of studying life cycle of a human being, right? So when we say life cycle from birth to death, yes, that's a different cycle, but to some extent we are discussing that component here. So what does this life cycle starts with, and at different stages of your life, what are the different challenges you go through, right? And what it takes to meet all these challenges. Let's reflect on the life cycle. This is our life cycle. And I want to begin with the stage which you people are right now in. So you people are in a stage wherein you're a college going student, you're young, you're youth, and you don't, of course, have your own source of income. And most of your requirements, most of your needs, your desires, your dreams are filled by your parents, right? So at this stage of your life, whatever money you get, whether it is in the form of pocket money or little bit of savings, what you have on your own, some of you do save. So all that money gets channelized in these avenues. So as a youngster, right, which generally we refer to as bachelorhood, right? So right now you guys are in this stage. It is called bachelorhood, wherein you're pursuing your education. You're young, single, adult. Some of you don't stay with your parents. Some of you do stay with your parents. Some of you stay with your friends, right? So at this stage of your life, all that money what you get, whether it is from your parents or through other sources, all this money gets channelized in three important avenues. One most important avenue is shopping. So at this stage, you guys have studied uh, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, either in marketing or in HR or in management. And Maslow says first is basic needs, then comes your safety needs. And of course, one of the important needs is the self socializing needs, social needs, right? Socialization is an essential component of your life. So because you don't want to be singled out, of course, you want to mingle with others, right? So at this stage of your life, when you want to socialize, because you're young, you want to make friends, you want to go out with your friends, socialization is an important component. And one of the important dimension here is that every youth wants to look better, right? When you're going out with your friends, of course, when you're alone, nobody's at home, you're not focused. But when you're out, you're becoming very conscious about how you look, your outlook, right? So most of the money gets spent on clothing. That's one of the major area when we say shopping, clothing. It also includes grooming products. So it can be cosmetics, it can be personal care products, it can be oral care products. So this is where most of the youth spend money. And of course, another essential, I said socializing. So first to do, in order to socialize, you have to present yourself well, right? For which you have to spend a lot of money on your clothing and accessories. Second, eating, right? So eating is an essential part of socialization. So you have generally you go out with your friends, either for movies or to restaurants, right? And at this stage of life, there is also an interesting component attached to it, which is called dating, right? So I don't want to discuss more about dating because it's quite an interesting topic, and I can discuss about it in 5 minutes. But nonetheless, you people do all this. All these are basically for socialization. So in order to meet these needs, so luckily somebody is funding you, right? So you have your parents who are taking care of your needs. This is a very comfortable, a very nice phase of your life, right? Because you have either the responsibility of studying, that's it. That's the maximum responsibility. Your other things are taken care by your parents. But what happens after this stage? After you graduate, maybe an undergraduate or a postgraduate, after you complete your higher education, what happens next? The next important, I would say, stage is where you're looking for a job, right? You're planning to stand on your own feet. You're trying to create your own identity, right? You're no longer, you don't want to depend on your parents too much. You don't want to uh, ask for money, right? You don't want to ask them money every time to meet your needs. So what happens the moment you start earning, right? Uh, Again, it's a jovial period for you because now you have access to too much of money. Because at this stage, when you're studying in a college, every time your parents give you money, you're questioned why you need, how much you need, how will you do, what will you do. But when you start earning and on your own, and by and large, most of the youths do not have the responsibility as such the moment they start earning, because still their parents are earning and they are there to take care of the major responsibilities at home. So you have complete freedom. Now you have access to plenty of money. You're getting a handsome salary of 20,000, 20,000 plus. That's the average salary what a graduate gets in a city like Bangalore. So now you have that entire 20,000 at your disposal, right? Now, what do you do with that 20,000? Again, you want to spend. Probably you want to fulfill all those dreams or all those desires which your parents could not do on account of scarcity of funds. So now you want to upgrade your mobile phone. You want to, the first salary comes, you want to upgrade your handset, right? You want to buy a latest mobile phone which has the best configuration, right? Next, you want to buy a latest two-wheeler. You want to buy a latest bike or a scooter because your parents could not afford the higher end or they didn't wanted to buy for you. So now you want to upgrade your vehicle, right? So a lot of money gets spent again on the same needs: shopping, socializing. These are the two aspects for which a lot of money gets spent, right? Now, what happens at this stage is that you're least bothered about your future. You're least bothered about what is about to come, right? Because you're enjoying your present. So you're least bothered about your future. So, anyways, we don't have in the life cycle a specific mention about this stage wherein you stand on your own feet, but we rather have a very interesting phase in this life cycle, which is called the honeymoon stage, right? So you would be thinking, how's this after bachelorhood immediately honeymoon? Yes, when we say honeymoon, it refers to wedding, right? And given the fact that Indian society lays a lot of emphasis on marriage, and it is also believed in our society that marriage completes your life, right? When I say completes, I don't know. You have to interpret whether it completes or whether it finishes your life, right? So yes, whether you like it or not, at one point in time, you have to settle down in your life, right? So you're just recently married. Now, what the point which I want to make here is that look at the change in the habits, right? Now look at the diversification that happens in the way in which you spend money, right? All this while you're a young bachelor, you used to spend a lot of money on socializing, partying, shopping, dating. Now priorities changes. Now you have your spouse with you, right? And since this is a newly married life just started, so you have to understand each other well, given the fact that in India we have a lot of arranged marriages. With this background, so what happens, both the parties here are new to each other, so the only way to get to know each other is to spend time, is to give time to each other, and this can be best done again with the help of socialization. So again, you have to socialize, right? Socialize with your partner. So generally, what most of the young married couples do is they spend a lot of time on socialization, which includes going to movies, right? Of course, one of the important highlights of this stage of your life is the honeymoon that happens, for which a lot of people pay a lot of importance. They give a lot of importance for going out, spending a lot of time. And of course, apart from this, as I said, socialization, which includes watching movies, going to restaurants. So at this stage of your life, you're quite happy because you're getting to know each other. So morning, you're going to a rooftop restaurant, right? In the evening, in the afternoon for lunch, you're going to a poolside restaurant, and the day ends with candlelight dinner, right? So this is how most of the couples get to know each other. But at this stage of life, again, the priorities changes, right? Because at this stage of your life, you're settling down in your life, you're trying to have a house of your own. So you have your own needs, right? You have to buy something which you have never bought for yourself, right? So when I say you have to buy something which you have never bought for yourself, what it means? So it basically means that when you start a new married life, a lot of money is being spent on home appliances. A lot of money is being spent on furnishing the house, right? So you're spending a lot of money on socialization, furnishing of house, home appliances, right? Buying utensils for yourself, right? So this is what a family needs. So at this stage of life, also you need plenty of money, and I would say the majority of the cost at this stage comes for the wedding itself, right? So on an average, right, what is the amount spent by an Indian family on wedding? So when you do the financial calculation, it takes at least 15 lakh rupees, 15 lakh rupees to have a normal, decent, basic wedding. And given the fact that in India we have so many traditions and customs, every small event can be made into a gala, grand event, provided you have sufficient money, right? Otherwise, 15 lakh rupees is what you need. So if you are a 21-year-old or if you're a 20-year-old, that means when you turn 30, that's the average age these days. Youngsters are getting married at the age of 30. That means in next 10 years, by the time you uh, reach the age of getting married, even now also you're eligible by law, but anyways, by 30 you have to ensure that you have at least 25 lakh rupees at your disposal to spend on your wedding. So next 10 years, how will you get 25 lakh rupees for yourself? That's the important question to be answered. Sana ma'am, I think, yeah, thank you.
Yes,
So
sir.
okay,
What happened?
I was getting some background disturbances. I just checked.
Okay.
Okay. So how will you arrange for those 25 lakhs? Right? So the problem here is we have so many aspirations and dreams in our life, but we never think of how do we fulfill those dreams? How do we fulfill those aspirations? Right? Because whatever aspirations, whatever dreams we have in our life, in order to achieve all these dreams, of course, people say that you need to have passion, you need to have education, right? At the end of the day, what it takes is money. So money matters. If you want to fuel all your dreams, you need to have money at your disposal. You don't have it, you will not be able to live the dream which you always, right, think of. So in order to fulfill all your dreams, you need to have sufficient money at every stage of your life. So that's one of the reason why I thought that the common mistake made by every Indian youth, and this mistake becomes a challenge in the future for the youth. So let me discuss this problem, let me discuss this challenge and give you a comprehensive solution so that you don't make that mistake what majority of the youth, especially in urban India, is making, right? So after bachelorhood, I said that one of the major issue with youth is that the moment they start earning, right, they spend the money lavishly without having to think about their future. I remember one of my friend, after we both completed post graduation, we started working. Immediately in just 8 months, he bought an Hyundai i20, and he called me. He said, "Come, let's go and take the delivery of the car." And I went with him because he was my good friend. So we took the delivery of the car. Then from there, we straight away went to temple for uh, some prayer, and then we were returning home, and then we had party, right? So it was a very proud moment. I could see the joy on my friend's parents' face. Her mother was extremely delighted. She was telling the entire neighborhood that my son has bought this car for me. So all this things that happened on that day made me to think multiple times that should I also buy a car? Should I also bring that joy and happiness on my parents' face? So I was thinking, should I also do this? Right? So that is where the mistakes pile up, because just now you have started earning, and the first thing what you do is you invest your hard earned salary in an unproductive asset, which is a car, a depreciating asset. So my friend spent 8 lakh rupees to buy Hyundai i20, and what would be its written down value now? You people are accounting students, so you're much better than to do calculation than somebody else. So that is how life begins. The moment you start earning, you have no orientation towards what is about to come. And since you are being taken care by your parents, you think, okay, my parents are there anyways, they'll continue to take care of my needs. But the challenge is they also have their own issues, right? Money does not falls from sky, right? You have to earn, you have to put a lot of effort to get that money, right? So therefore, what I want you people to do is not to become complacent the moment you start earning money. Of course, you have to fulfill your small dreams, but do that. But please have a focus towards what is about to come. So what is about to come is marriage, one of the major expense, not so easy, but unfortunately most of the parents in India take this burden on their own shoulders, borrow loans, take money, right? And ultimately they end up in a debt trap. So it should not happen. Of course, your parents are there to support you, but you should also do your bit, right? So you should also have sufficient money to meet this expense. And after marriage, now there are series of events that are about to come. The next major event is called what happens after honeymoon, right? After honeymoon, of course, you will get a good news, right? So you'll become a parent. So now a new uh, challenge starts. And what's that challenge? And that challenge is first, first challenge which you will face at this stage of life is that if you don't have sufficient money at this stage of life, you will have serious issues in taking care of the maternity expenses. Given the fact that most of the hospitals these days are run by corporates, and you know how the health care inflation has gone up in India, and India is also emerging as one of the major destination for healthcare tourism. So plenty of money is required at this stage of life. So are you prepared for this? Right, it's a very joyful moment in every individual's life to become a parent. Right, the arrival of the first child brings a lot of joy, right? Even in case if you end up getting love marriage, right? Your parents might say, please get out of the house. Your parents might throw you outside the home, but ultimately, when there is an arrival of the child, even they accept, right? So this is the tendency what I have seen in the society. So that's the magic what a child can do. Arrival of a child can do wonders, right? It increases the affection. It makes the bonds even more stronger, right? But again, expenses, right? And this newborn child, first pre-arrival of the child itself, there are so many expenses. At the arrival of the child also, there are so many expenses. Once the child has arrived, now the small young infant immunity is weak. Of course, it takes time for the immunity to build. So how many times should you visit the doctor? How many times do you visit the pediatrician? What about baby food? What about baby clothes? What about the other needs of the baby? So it takes a lot of time, right? And all your habits changes here. All this while, when you are a newly married couple, you used to go to PVR Gold Class, enjoy your movie there. You used to have most of the time dinner and lunch outside, but all this now will disappear. Now the entire focus is on the child. So at this stage of life, also you need sufficient money to ensure that the arrival of the child is smooth and the progress of the child is also good, right? In case if you do not have sufficient money, again you have to struggle in this stage of your life. Again, beg, borrow, take loans, end up landing in the debt trap. And mind you, after this parenthood, by the time the child becomes 3 years old or 4 years old, that is when you might get a mild heart attack, both you and your spouse. And you know why this mild heart attack will be? Because you will go to play home for admission of your child, you will go to Baldwin's or you will go to Bishop Cotton's, and you will inquire about the admission, and they will tell you for LKG the admission fees is 5 lakh rupees. And that is when you will think, oh my God, my parents would not have spent 5 lakh rupees on my entire education, and I have to end up shelling 5 lakh rupees only for nursery or LKG. That's the point which I wanted to make, because education is very, very expensive in India. Unfortunately, education is highly commercialized, right? My dad would not have spent, I think, even 2 lakh rupees on my education. I think, forget about 2 lakhs, not even 1 lakh rupees. But yes, when you have your children, only for nursery and LKG, you might have to end up spending 5 lakh rupees. And in case if your child pursues, if your child aspires to study medical or engineering, in case if you don't have sufficient money, then gone. You will not be able to fulfill the dreams of your child, right? Imagine if your child wants to do an MBA program, how much it would cost for an MBA program after 20 years from now. Now the MBA program costs you somewhere around 10 lakh rupees. So after 20 years, given the fact the inflation, considering the inflation, how much would the MBA cost? So do you have sufficient money for all this? That's the question I wanted to ask you, right? So at this stage, baby food, medicines, doctor visits, diapers, toys, games, school admission, and be prepared for the school admission, right? And then, of course, now you're matured parents, where children are grown up, and now at this stage, again, you have to take care of the needs of your children, right? Clothing, socializing needs, the way your parents have taken care, but your children will be more demanding, because over the period of time, scientists have studied the behavior of different generations: Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z, right? Some of you belong to Generation Z, right? What are your children? To which generation will they belong? Your children are part of Generation Alpha. They're called Generation Alpha. So they are a different kind of generation, which which has high demands, right? Highly tech oriented, right? So don't think they will be just like you, or just like me, or just like the previous generations. So their behavior is totally different and more demanding and challenging to manage them. So they will give you all sorts of troubles, all sorts of challenges you will face at this stage of your life. And in case if you do not have sufficient money to fulfill these, then you're in a serious trouble. Especially the higher education at this stage plays an extremely important role. Right now, everybody in India, whether it is a person who does an ordinary job, right? A small job, let's say somebody is doing work in the construction site, lifting the bricks and keeping it aside. That's the job. Even that person who's doing a very simple job, right, wants their children to study in a convent school, because they think that convent school education is the door that can transform their economic status, that can bring up them from poverty and elevate them, right? So everybody in India, even they are willing to sacrifice their meal for 2 3 times, but they want their child to get educated in the best school possible. That's the dream of the parents, right? And you shall also have the same dream, the way your parents had a dream for you of getting you educated in the best institution possible. You will also have the same dream, right? But dreams remains dream unless you don't have the financial resources to fulfill them. So at this stage, that's a problem, that you need to have sufficient financial resources, right? So these are some of the expenses which you will have as a matured parents, right? So anything you buy will not be individual centric now. When you were newly married, when you were bachelor, everything will be for yourself and for your point of view. But now here, everything is bought with the intention of fulfilling the requirements of the family. The next stage is the stage which your parents are at the moment now. Parents with matured children, right? In fact, your parents have mature children, but you are not yet independent. You are still with your parents. So probably your parents are in the previous stage, matured parents. But here we have parents with mature children. That means parents are also married and they're also settled. This is the most challenging and the most difficult phase of the life, for a simple reason that given the fact that the kind of environment in which we are living, right, this environment, the food what we eat, the lifestyle what we are following, that has put us in great risk of health hazards, right? So these days people are getting diabetes at the age of 20. People are getting hypertension at the age of 25, 30. People are dying of heart attack at the age of 35 itself. How many cases have we seen, and how many cases we read this in the newspaper, right? The health condition seems to be a great challenge for the generation which is about to come, and especially for the old. At this stage, the issue is if your health does not support you, then you will land up in big trouble because you have to eat more medicines than food. You will spend more time in the ICU than the bedroom. That's the challenge. And at this stage, what it takes is money. Of course, children also play a very important role. The love and affection, right? No matter how much money you have, you cannot buy love and affection with money. But yes, money also plays an important role because hospitalization seems to have, right, become a major issue given the fact that most of the hospitals, as I mentioned, are run by corporates. The average one day if you spend in a hospital in ICU, if you spend one day in the hospital, it will cost you 1 lakh rupees in a good hospital. Now, why don't we go to government hospitals? For a simple reason that forget about you getting hospitalized in a government hospital. Let's say you're visiting somebody, your friend who is hospitalized in a government hospital. You go visit him, next day you should get hospitalized. For a simple reason, that's the condition of our government hospitals. They are pathetic. So you will not have facilities in government hospital. Obviously, you have to go to a corporate hospital. And if your health does not support you at this stage, everybody will get one or the other fancy disease. Somebody will not have, uh, somebody sugar level will be high, somebody hyper will be hypertension, somebody will get cancer because of the kind of environment what we are living. So the point here is at this stage of life, if you do not have that financial support, you are gone. And the fact, I want to do a reality check. What has happened in the society is the moment parents become sick, the moment parents become sick, children consider them to be a big burden. Forget about sick parents. Even if parents are healthy, also, the children of this generation are considering their parents as burden. I've seen so many of my friends since I've worked in corporate for a decent amount of time. Some of my friends, when I meet them, I ask them, "How are your parents doing?" They say that they are in a old age home. Parents are healthy, parents are fine, but still children don't want to keep their parents with them for various reasons. For various reasons. So children, the parents are dumped into old age home, and parents have no option because they do not have sufficient money or sufficient savings to live on their own. So they are at the disposal of their children. If children throw them in old age home, they have no option but to go there. Even at home, they have to live at the mercy of the children because when they were young, when they were right earning, unfortunately, they did not save a lot of money for their retirement. And at this stage of life, they are neither getting the love and affection of their parents, neither their needs are being fulfilled on account of lack of money, right? And in case if somebody has sick parents, that is even more a challenge. Recently, I read an article in the newspaper wherein a young married couple in Mumbai, right? A young married couple, mother was ill, suffering from cancer for the last 5 years. So what son has done? Son has taken the mother to terrace and thrown mother from the terrace. So that's the kind of generation. I'm talking about the present. I told you, your children is even more challenging. They will have no affection. They will now have no sentiments, right? And I'm not saying this. This is the research which is being done by psychologists, and they are saying that the coming generation will have least sentiments, right? So just imagine, right? Now, in case if you are not serious now at this stage of your life, the moment you are earning, you should think of your retirement, right? And in case if you do not have sufficient money saved for your retirement, what will happen is your children will also throw you to some old age home, and you will be suffering in that old age home, and St. Joseph College students will come there for outreach program. So you will be thinking, oh God, there was a time when I used to also go to an outreach program. And that is when you will remember my words. So I don't want all this to happen. I want everybody to live a life full of dignity, respect, for which you have to pull up your socks now. And the moment you start earning, don't do the mistake of what my friend did, buying a car in loan, in installment, right? So there are many other mistakes which youths do, right? I just mentioned some of them. Now, what will happen after this? Parents with mature children, right? You can see parents are already carrying a stick in their hands. What happens after this? After this, one wicket will fall. That means either husband or wife will die, right? So at this stage of life, it's quite difficult. It's quite challenging because you don't have anybody to give you emotional support. Unfortunately, if you don't have money, then life becomes quite challenging. But trust me, when you are old, when you have sufficient money at your disposal, everybody will be near you. That's how the society is. Even your parents, even your children will love you at that stage because you are still their source of income, right? That's how we have become corrupt, right? Even though you may say, no, I'm a very good child, I don't have such values. But over the period of things change, right? The situation, the circumstances makes your mind corrupt. So at this stage, if you have money, you can do wonders. At this stage of life, also you can live a peaceful life, right? I'm not uh, saying that money is the solution for all the social challenges what we face in our life, but by and large, we can't deny the fact that it is one of the most important aspect, right? To meet all the social problems we face in our life, right from birth to death, money does play an instrumental role. So my question to you is, how will you get all this money which is needed? From where will you get all this money, right? So what are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What are your aspirations? All of us have certain dreams. But the most common dream of every Indian is to have their own home, is to have their own house, right? First is to have your own house. Second, to have at least a decent car, right? Now, when I say decent car, at least you should have Hyundai Creta at this stage of your life. And I'm not referring to Alto. And then, of course, you want to live a decent life, for which these are some of the dreams. These are some of the common dreams, right? Let me enlist all the popular dreams, right? These are some of the common things what every person has. Children education, of course, these are your parents' dreams. Children marriage, pension, purchase of residential premises. This dream is a dream of every Indian youth. The moment you start earning, right, and given the fact that most of us do not own houses in India, most of the people live in rented premises. You always want to have your dream home, right? You always want to buy a car. You want to always buy a vehicle, right? In case if you are already having all this, you're already blessed with all this. You've already filled all these dreams. It does not mean dreams end there. Dreams are, right, you know, economics, you have studied, our wants are unlimited. So somebody who already has a nice home, he wants to upgrade it. Somebody who already has a Hyundai Creta, he wants to buy Audi now, right? Now you also want to do home upgradation. You want to change, you want to have a luxurious interiors, right? You want to have expensive furniture at your home, right? Every Sunday you want to spend time in Switzerland, right? You want to go abroad, you want to accumulate wealth, you want to take in charity events. Some people do this, not everybody. A lot of people do philanthropy also. They organize charitable event. They know that they have some responsibility towards society, right? So these are called optional goals. Of course, mandatory goals everybody has, but people who already are blessed with all this, they have optional goals. So my question to you is, how will you fulfill all this? That's the challenge. The challenge of youth in India is living your dream, right? So how will you live your dream? How will you do all this? Now you might say, sir, I also have a dream of setting up my own business. I want to venture into my own business. Very good. But also you need capital, right? I have a couple of my friends who worked in the industry for 10 years. Now they are doing business. A guy always wanted to have a restaurant. Now he's having a restaurant, right? Somebody is into security cameras business. Somebody has a boutique, right? So dreams, even if you have a dream of starting your own venture, again, that also requires money. So that's the challenge. That's the challenge most of the youth have in India, right? Now, I want to talk about solution. Yes, of course, these are the dreams which we have, which we might not be able to fulfill. But there is a way, there is a way, there is a possibility you can fulfill these dreams. And that's what I'm about to discuss now. But let me ask you a question. I said the average salary which a graduate gets in India is somewhere around 20,000 per month. So tell me, with 20,000 per month, would you be able to fulfill all these dreams? Buying a house. How much would it would cost to buy a house in a city like Bangalore? Uh, Roughly, right? So, do you think we can buy a house in 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs in a city like Bangalore? Is it possible to buy a house at this rate? The answer is highly impossible. You don't get a house for 25, 30 lakhs, right? So, first of all, is it possible to fulfill this dream of buying a house when you have a salary income of 20,000 per month? So, even if you say, okay, 20,000 per month, now whether you're able to fulfill your dreams with this 20,000 per salary, 20,000 per month salary or not, it's definitely a question which is worth discussing. But what I want to say is that it's not about 20,000. It's not about 20,000. There is something more to it, which you have to understand here. Because the society in which we live is a society which respects you by looking at your financial background, by looking at your economic status. Society, by and large, does not respect you by the kind of good character what you may have, by looking at your educational qualification. At the end of the day, discussion happens. Respect comes from the kind of wealth what you possess. Tomorrow, in case if you want to get married also, one of the major hurdle in marriage also is the amount of wealth which is evaluated by the other party. Of course, when I say the other party, the girl parents will always do an evaluation of boys' financial health, and tough questions are asked, right? So, are you prepared for those tough questions? And what are the tips for girls' parents? Let me discuss this some interesting things, because these kind of things we don't discuss in the classroom. And since we are discussing social issues, I think this would be a quite interesting topic. Let's say there is a girl, right? There's a woman. Uh, has attained the age of marriage, and the proposals are going on, right? So parents are somehow want to conclude the marriage as soon as possible. So a lot of people, a lot of applicants are coming here to visit girls' house. That's what we do in our Indian culture. The boy will go to woman's house to see. So, what are the typical questions the girl's father would ask? Typical questions. At least one important question. Can anybody message me that one important question which is asked at the time of this so-called alliance setup? One important question. Without this question, there is no discussion. You know what's that question? At the time of proposal discussion, the question is, how much do you earn, or what is your salary? This is the question which is going for decades, for ages. I wouldn't say this question should not be asked. Of course, these are some of the important questions. These questions provides understanding about the other person's financial background, financial health, and of course, as I said, at every stage of your life, you need money. So asking this question is there's nothing wrong. But I want this question to be changed, because this is a wrong question. Let's say there were two people one by one, not both at a time, one by one. First, Suresh has gone to girl's house for this alliance, and the girl's father asks him a question: "How much is your salary?" And this guy says, "Sir, I work in a BPO, and I'm earning 21,000 rupees per month." So what happens is there is no happiness on the so-called father-in-law's face, and no beverage also. Thank you very much. The guy is sent back. Now next, after Suresh, Ramesh goes. Same question is asked to Ramesh. How much is your salary? Now this guy says, I earn 91,000 rupees. 91,000 rupees, all of a sudden there is a joy on the face. Now special snacks gets offered at the time of this ongoing proposal process. And of course, as a girl father, whom would you choose? Definitely you would say, I'll go for Ramesh, not Suresh, because Suresh has only 21,000 rupees. But the fact of the matter is that even though Ramesh is earning 91,000 rupees, his monthly expenses are 90,000 rupees. That's the kind of commitments what he has on his shoulders. And on top of that, he has already two, three loans running: home loan, car loan, vehicle loan. So he's already stuck in loans. So that's the point I mentioned. This question needs to be changed. On the other hand, Suresh, who's earning 21,000 rupees, hardly spends 4,000 rupees, and his entire remaining 17,000 rupees becomes savings. So, what is the question that needs to be asked is not how much are you earning, but rather how much are you saving? So, this question needs to be changed, right? Because savings is the first steps. Saving is the first step of achieving those dreams which I was discussing with you people, right? So, what are those dreams? Buying a house, buying a car, taking your parents on a world trip, sending them to a pilgrimage, early retirement, child education, right? So, with a salary of 20,000 per month, let us go back to the question which I posted. Is it possible to achieve all these dreams? Is it possible for you to buy a house with 20,000 salary per month? The answer is, even if you save 20,000 per month, 20,000 into 12, 2,40,000. 2,40,000 into 10 years, 24 lakhs. Would you be able to buy a house after 10 years with 24 lakhs? With 24 lakhs after 10 years, a person can buy a grave in the graveyard, a small size. Only one person can sleep on that land, but not a house. That's the fact of the matter. But is it possible? Is there any way where you can achieve your dreams by just earning 20,000 per month? Is it possible? In the year 2001, I completed my 10th, and that is when my uncle, my mother's brother, bought a new Royal Enfield, and we were all excited to take a ride with him. So it so happened that just 2 years back, I met him on one of the uh, Eid festival days, and I said him that one of the biggest mistakes what you did in your life, that you bought a bullet Royal Enfield. He said, why is it a mistake? It's a classic motorcycle. The new ones are so bad, but what I have is an old version, right? It has such a nice sound. When I uh, ride the vehicle on the streets, people look at me, right? That's the kind of attention what I get. I said, people look at you and laugh at you. He asked me why. I asked him, how much, boss, how much did you, mama, how much did you pay for Royal Enfield motorcycle in the year 2001? He said, I paid 55,000 rupees. So I told him, Mama, had you invested 55,000 rupees in the shares of the company which makes Royal Enfield motorcycle, at that time it was only 5 rupees per share. At that time it was only 5 rupees per share. So imagine you would have bought 5,500 shares. Each share, we had this conversation in 2017. At that time, the share price had touched 4,000 rupees. Per share was 4,000. So I said, Mama, just calculate 5,500 shares you bought in 2001 instead of buying Royal Enfield motorcycle. Had you sold those shares now in 2017, calculate how much wealth you would have accumulated. 5,500 shares into 4,000 rupees each share. So I told him, at this, the amount of wealth what you would have created now, you would have bought one bungalow for yourself, one luxury car for yourself, and you would have gifted a Royal Enfield motorcycle to me now. So he said, dear, why didn't you tell me this in 2001? Why are you telling this now? So I said, whatever has happened has happened. Now you follow the advice what I'm giving to you, right? And so that's it. It is possible to achieve your dreams, provided it's not enough just to save. First, first thing, develop an appetite to save money, which most of the youngsters in India don't do. The moment they have money, they don't know where it comes and where it disappears. They are more focused on satisfying their materialistic needs, their current desires. So there is no orientation towards future, right? They live in present, they don't think about the future. So that should not happen. First, you should have an orientation towards your future. Second, most important point, you should have the appetite to save. And saving will not help you to achieve all your dreams. You have to channelize the saving in the right avenue of investment. An avenue of investment that will help you to achieve and fulfill all your goals. And which is that avenue of investment? Luckily, stock market. So stock market is the only avenue of investment that can translate a small wealth also into huge amount of money, provided you learn the basics how to invest in the stock market, for which you don't need to have any degree, fashionable finance degree in uh, stock markets, right? Even if you have basic common sense, you can invest the money, right? What happened just before the lockdown in the month of March, one of my college friend met me and he said, see, these are the investments what I've made investments in fixed deposits, I've bought gold, right? But this is not helping me, because these fixed deposits, gold, provident fund will not help you to achieve your dream, because they give you very substandard rate of interest. It's not possible to achieve your dream. So I said, convert that everything into cash, break all your fixed deposits, sell all the gold, accumulate the fund and call me. So he did that. He said, I have done whatever you said. I have 45 lakh, for 45 lakh change in my hand now. Tell me what to do. So I said him, invest in stock market. You were shocked. You were saying that stock market has crashed because of this pandemic. It has come down to 27,000 from 40,000. And you want me to invest now? I said, yes, right? So the stock market is a game wherein, right, you have to follow the advice given by Warren Buffett. Be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. And I said him, boss, this pandemic is not going to last long forever. Vaccine will come after a few months, after a few years, stock market will bounce back. Don't worry, I'll give you the guarantee. Put your 45 lakh rupees in the stock market. And you know what's the situation now? From 27,000, Sensex now is trading at all-time high, 47,000 yearly. So his 45 lakh rupees has now crossed 1 crore. And he messages me every day. You tell me what kind of treat you want. You tell me where we shall go. Shall we go to Dubai and come back? Shall we go to some foreign trip and come back? I am always ready. So I said him, boss, let this pandemic get over. Let us decide then later. So the point here is, it is possible to achieve all your dreams, your aspirations, provided first you should develop an appetite of looking at the future. Second, you should develop a habit of saving the money. And third, you should channelize the money in the right direction. One more important thing, in the process of saving and investing money, what people forget is the other risk. There is one more risk, one major challenging risk, which is always overlooked and neglected in the context of India. And that challenge and that risk is the risk of death, right? Everybody has to die one or the other day. But the problem is, dying at an early age can have severe implication. Somebody in a family, if there's a one child, right? And that child is the only breadwinner in the family. He's taking care of the entire family. This person, five, six people are dependent on him. If this person dies, what will happen? The entire family will, of course, face emotional loss. Emotions can be healed over the period of time. But what the problem here is the financial loss. The main breadwinner has died, then who will take care of the family? And that is where I always tell most of the youngsters, buy insurance at a very early age. The moment you start earning, first thing you buy is insurance for yourself, because in your absence your family should not suffer. So buy an insurance policy, buy a policy worth crore of rupees. It hardly costs you 7,000 per year to buy a 1 crore insurance policy. Second most common mistake people don't do is they don't buy a health insurance. Now, health insurance also, you know how crucial it is, right? So it's don't just think about making money. Money, of course, you have to make. First thing is safety, and that's the reason I said Maslow's need hierarchy, because Maslow also talks about first, right, basic needs, then comes safety needs. Then, of course, think of an investment. Channelize all your money, right? Because what is about to come is a quite a challenging life, given the fact that the salary standards are going down. Because every year in India, we have so many lakhs of people who are getting graduated. There is hardly any demand for the graduates, right? So salary standards over the period of time has terribly come down. So ensure that you people are wise and taking wise decision, and start investing at a very early age to fulfill all your dreams and goals, because this is called the uh, investor's life cycle. And I want you to just focus on this. First 25 years of life just goes like that. You're dependent on your parents, right? But next 10 to 15 years plays an important role. If you become complacent in this stage, you will not be able to fulfill all that dreams. So this is the stage wherein you have to pull up your socks, do your best to make as much as money as possible, accumulate as much as wealth as possible. If you do this, your retirement and your life facing challenges becomes much easier. Right? So that's the problem which most of the youngsters in India do face, that they do not have a proper financial plan. They do not have a proper financial plan of achieving their dreams, of fulfilling their dreams. So you don't do the mistakes which the youth are doing. You be more cautious, right? That's the point which I wanted to share. Now you are more than welcome to go ahead and ask the questions.
Yes, students, you can ask the questions. If you
Sir,
have any question, you can
In
drop it
case
in the
if you
chat
do not,
box as well. Yeah. Yes, sir.
okay, in case if they do not have any
no,
question, I
sir.
have a question for them, which they have to submit as a part of assignment. Yeah, one by one, go on.
Uh, Umer sir, how to actually go with the health insurance?
Health insurance, if you end up working in a good, decent company, especially multinational companies, they give you insurance policy free of cost. But I would say always better to have a personal one also, right? At this stage of your life, since most of them are adults, if you want to buy insurance, you can't buy a family policy because your parents are old. So insurance companies will not give you family policy, right? But if your children are young, let's say you're married, your wife, your children, you can buy a family policy and reduce the cost. But at this stage of your life, when you're not married, your parents are also becoming old, so you have to buy a separate policy for yourself and separate policy for your parents. So 18,000 rupees is the average premium per annum, which will give you an insurance policy of up to 7 lakh rupees, life insurance policy. So all the hospitalization expenses, everything will be taken care by the insurance company. And I also want to make one more point. Whenever you're buying an insurance, please do include critical illness in that. Because insurance companies, what life insurance companies will do is they will give money only if the person dies. But more than the worst part of life is that dying is at least sometimes okay. But if somebody gets a critical disease like cancer, this person has to suffer throughout his life. Life insurance money will not give money for cancer because they will say you have not died, right? So therefore, buy critical illness benefit. So what happens if you buy critical illness benefit with your normal insurance? The moment somebody gets critical illness, insurance company will give lump sum amount, 20 lakh, 25 lakhs. So it becomes quite easy to face that challenge. See, money is required to face any kind of challenge. So somebody gets a cancer, one of the biggest thing is that you need to have sufficient money to get treated in a good hospital. So critical illness benefit attached to an insurance policy will take care of this need also. So insurance buying is quite easy. Just log into any insurance company's website. You can buy insurance online. The way you buy groceries on online sites, on Flipkart, similarly, you can buy an insurance policy. You can do comparison, see what is best for you, and you can go for an insurance policy. But insurance is a must. First is life insurance for your life. Second, health insurance for you and your family members.
Any other question? So I request everyone to take a note of this question, which is shared by Umair sir. You all have to submit this assignment once you finish both the sessions.
Okay, with this we will conclude the session. And in case if you're not able to ask any question for some reason, you can obviously
So,
message me. Yes, go on, go ahead.
so what are these medium-term goals?
That means, see, you're at the age of 21 now or 20. Next 2 to 3 years, what are your goals? You can say, sir, I want to do an MBA program. That becomes your goal. You will say, sir, I want to do an MBA program in Australia. That can be a goal. You say that, no, sir, I want to get married. So that is also a goal. Medium term goal, you say, sir, after 3 years, maybe after 4 5 years, I want to get married. After 4 5 years, maybe I want to start my family. Right. So these can be your goals. So you have to decide at which stage of life you want to do what. Long-term goal can be buying a house. Long-term goal can be buying a car. So what are your goals? I gave you some indicative points of what can goals be. Basically, these are your dreams which you want to fulfill.
Feedback link is also posted in the chat box, and I have posted even in your Teams. Okay. Soon after this session, you all have to fill the feedback form.
Okay, so in case if you
there
have,
are no more questions,
yeah, but in case if
Yes,
they
sir.
have any questions at a later point in time, they think that they should have asked this question. And since I think this is most of them are commerce students, if
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
wrong. So obviously they
Yes, sir.
can, yeah, they can message me anytime on MS Teams, and definitely I'll be able to answer their queries on fulfilling the dreams, right? So I'll see you probably in the upcoming semester. So till then, take care. Have a good day.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for making our students understand various stages of life in an immense manner. Hope they'll follow your advices and prepare themselves to face all these challenges in each phase of their life. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.